a check in case they wanted to be.
I'd like to ask first.
Yeah.
I was doing it for Newtown Port last week as
Now,
well.
one of the important things, as we've been saying, is that we can't get any naked flame near gunpowder for obvious reasons. And this fault didn't have gas, it didn't have electricity. So the only things that you could use would be candle, well, you wouldn't use that, or an oil lamp. But if you're using an oil lamp in this area and it meets with gunpowder, boom. So underneath here, and you can actually barely just about see down there, is a small tunnel. And these small tunnels went all the way around these tunnels next to it. And there would be a ½ inch of glass. And behind there would be an oil lamp. And you can actually see, when you look underneath, there's a depression and then there's a little hole. And that little hole is an air vent. And what used to happen is the smoke used to be drawn out. And that meant that was kept well away. But the important part is that you would need somebody short to actually go down there to do that. Because the average height of a person now, they say it's...
Let's get through there.
No, they're going a different way. Remember, that there's a wall there and it's going to come down like that.
Yeah.
So about 5'8", they reckon the average is. Well, that's a load of rubbish because I'm 5'8" and I appear to be short most of the time. So it's obviously a lot higher than that. But in the Edwardian times, most of the men that worked here were very short. You're talking about 5 foot or less because they had bad diets and everything else. The officers tended to be bigger men because they had a better diet. And it wasn't until the men actually came into the fort that they probably started to eat 3 meals a day and stuff like that. So they would be working down there and in here, but they're separated by this glass. We're going to go down here and you will find that the floor is wet. Please be aware of, just look down every now and again, because if you've got very fine sandals on, you might need to just step to one side, otherwise you get a bit chilly. We're just going to stop around this corner around here. Come round. That's it. So we've got everybody in. Okay, one of the things that is of interest is the architecture. Not that I know anything really about architecture, but generally what you find in large buildings is some sort of arch. The arch is to hold the whole thing up. You've got to have strength in what you're doing, and where you've got an arch like that, it gives you strength. And you can see this arch is coming all the way around there, and you'll find that as a theme when you're going through. You'll also see that there's arches which are smaller, and it looks as though there was a door there, but it's been bricked up. And you're quite right, there was a door there, but it's been bricked up. The reason that happened is that whilst they were building, it was, we got this far, do you remember we should do something else? Yeah, well, that means I'll have to block that, block that door. And that was always changing it. So you'll find there's quite a bit of that. Why is it important to have that? Well, above it is a 38-ton gun, going back a long way. 38-ton gun in itself is heavy.
Recoil. Recoil on it?
Well, the recoil, if you like, is one thing, but you've also got a carriage which is going to take it over 42 tonne. That's heavy. You're going to stick a shell in it, then fire the shell, the recoil, but the whole explosive, you need protection under there, or else that's going to come through. So it actually holds it all in place, and it's quite important that we remember that. Just here, you'll see it's only half, if you like, of the lighting system. Here would be glass. Above that would be a metal casing. And that metal casing would stop any sparks when they're coming through. The glass would allow the light to come down and create a light. But we're talking about a small flame. It's not going to be big. So the lighting under here is not as good as this. This is very good. We used to have it darker than this. We used to have to carry lights with us. But whatever you've got down here would have been like that flickering all the time. So that's what they are. Any questions, by the way, just shout out. We'll talk about these things in a moment. You can see that there's numbers on the left-hand side. And these are magazines, so they are numbered, so we know everything's armed, so everything's numbered.
I don't know anything else but numbers.
Right, first place we'll stop is here. And we've got a door here that's been lit up. Now, interestingly, when they first built this place, if you can imagine that I don't know if you will see that, but that is the outline of a fort. And what we actually had on it was these square bits. And I can never pronounce it because it's French. Some or others. It's a special thing that the French had on their forts. And the idea was that if this came out to that part there, and you have bits in the middle, if somebody actually got close to your fort and they got too close, you can't fire on them. But with these carabiniers, you can actually be in there firing upon them because you're now behind them. Because of the way, well, the place that this is built, and our forts are all the same, we actually have the Thames. We have a very deep mud bank. We then have grassland. We then have a wet moat, and we've got a dry moat. So the chances of them getting too close to us is practically zero. So they built quite a lot of these and then pulled them down and bricked them over. You'll find stone from there is what you see going around the car park. These big chunks of stones going around the car park. And quite a lot of it, interesting enough, because somebody was asking me about the church, the soldiers in the First World War actually tried to rebuild the tower of the church, which was falling down. And so quite a lot of this stone is actually used there and on the walls around the church. Okay, big puddles, be careful where you walk. You can feel some warm air coming down there. Just this way, and then just turn around.
Is this what?
Most of the winter is even worse. Okay, above your head is a tube, and that tube has got a bell around it, which is actually made out of oak. It's old oak, which is worth a fortune. And that oak is to protect anything that's going up. If you're going to shove shelves up there and you've got brickwork around it, there might be something, and it could, on the side of the metal, it could create a spark. Inside there was lined in wood. Now, unfortunately, when the fort closed in 1962, a lot of people broke in, and a lot of brass fixtures and all different fixtures and wood and everything was stolen. But that's the fault of the council because they should have protected it. So there's a couple more of those dotted about, but that's what that's actually for. So what you'd be shoving up there is gunpowder or shells, but not at the same time. This is one I like asking kids. So when you've got young kids, you say to them, what's that? They go, I don't know. Okay. How are we going to communicate with people above? And a very young lad, he couldn't be more than 5. And he's got a mobile phone with him. He said, mobile phone. Clearly, he wouldn't have understood the concept. It's a speaking tube, yeah. This is a speaking tube. It's made out of iron, as you can see, because it's rotting and it's expanding. When that was first installed, there would have been along here plaster. So that would have been hidden and you wouldn't have had any problem with it. And it goes all the way up into the gun room. So they would have to speak through here and somebody up there listening. The thing that interests me is that when they were firing guns, the noise would have been really loud. How can you hear anybody? So he must have had somebody, his job was with his ear stuck to that, to listen to what's going on. Because you need to make sure it's all coordinated. Sometimes people talk to me about paranormal. Your friend's not there yet. But sometimes in places like this, you can hear people talking above. So if we write down there, what you can't hear is all of the words, and you can hear people, especially when there's water dripping. if you're the only one down here, or here, all the way down here, and it, as the sound wave comes along, it gets bigger and bigger.
I'm glad we're looking good.
Thank you. I used to have a pastor who used to work with the tours, but he passed away.
What I like to do is go in there. It's a bit dark, but we'll have a light in there. Okay, now, one of the things that's mentioned is that water is a problem that they have always had. And because of where we are, and we're not actually underground, you are at the same level you was at when you was outside the floor. It's just that over us is this big bank of mud. And any water in the soil from the Thames is actually leaching in. Rain that comes in, hits the top of the fault right on the roof. It might take ages to come down, but eventually it will get through. So that's why there's this here. This is a magazine, and this magazine would have held shells. And you'll find on here, they've got things, and these are tubes, percussion, fuses, time, and so on and so forth. That's original from when they actually used shells down here. Let's go back a long way. I think somebody might actually help the framework a bit, looking at it, because it's rather good, isn't it?
You can see by the ironwork.
Yeah, the ironwork is it one. So, we've got to remember as well that this is an army establishment. This floor being wet would not be acceptable. So, you try and do work down here and you'll slip into the grid. The other thing is, they had to make sure that every floor here was suitable to move things on. You wouldn't be carrying a shell necessarily. If it's an 800-pound shell, there's only a few ways to move that. And one of them is by trolley. The trolleys that they had didn't have metal wheels, they actually had wooden wheels. So, to help them, the floor would have one of two things on it. And it sounds quite modern now, this a grass carpet, made out of reeds. The other one is actually a hide flooring. So, in the days when they used to have beef, like we do nowadays,
Didn't
I
think of
don't.
pallets. Didn't think of pallets.
Didn't think of
They didn't think of wooden pallets.
wooden pallets. No, wooden pallets wouldn't do the job. No. I'm not a vegan, but I don't eat meat. So my concept of it is not necessarily the same as everybody else's. But if meat is eaten, what you've got left over is a hide. And that hide will take hundreds of years to actually get rid of if you put it into the land. So by having sofas and other goods made out of leather, it's actually doing the world a good thing. So what they would actually do here is have a hide floor. And believe me, they have a lot of meat in this place because there's a lot of soldiers that need protein. So it will be made out of leather, and that will be put down on the floor. If we look here, for those of you that are interested in the height of people, that is the tunnel that I was talking about. So, although maybe you could stand in there, you'll be on one side, because as soon as you moved over, you'd hit your head. Somebody like me, I've got a better chance, but I'll be honest with you, I have hit my head in there as well. Now, up there again, you can see that there is an exhaust where the smoke goes, and there's where the glass is. But again, when we came in here, you think of how dark it was. Could you switch it off just a bit?
I'll take it out because
Yeah.
it's been a pain.
Now, I'm actually doing this with my hands here. Remember, they've got a flame. That's what you're working in. So, everything was painted white. You can see better with white. Along here will be rows and rows and rows of shells. The shells that they had to start off with were just big lumps of metal. Shells would not explode in those days. A lot of people seem to believe that cannonballs, when you chuck a cannonball at somebody, it hits something and it explodes. No, it doesn't. It hits somebody, it goes through them, possibly if it's going fast enough. The Americans had a good type where they'd have two cannonballs with a chain. And the idea is it moves around like that and it takes people's legs away. So, when you see those films, it's not quite accurate. If a cannonball went through wood and actually sparked at the time it hit gunpowder, bang, that would go up. But the idea basically was to try and get people's thank you very much. As I was saying earlier on, my first one of the year was defeat me sometimes. Get the mass, get the sales down. Shit can't move it. So that was the idea. But we became more sophisticated. And what we're looking at here, they are replica, apart from that one. We won't talk about it for a moment. These two here are replica 800-pound shells. 800 pounds is a big, big weight in iron. And the reason that we needed stuff like that was because somebody that could be our enemy, is there anybody French here? We've always had this thing about the French, I don't know why, but the French had a leader in the 1800s, Napoleon III, not the Napoleon that won us trouble, we can look at that, but Napoleon III. Now, he was an expansionist. He wanted the rest of the world to do what he wanted to do. And if you disagreed with him, he would tell you how wrong that decision was. If you didn't change your mind, he'd attack him. What he did, and quite cleverly, he was looking at technology, and shells were getting pretty good. Yeah? They would just be a plain bit of metal but shaped to the top. And those shells would actually go straight through the body of a wooden ship. You try and hit the tide line, water goes in, ship goes down. Yeah, great. So what he thought was try. Okay, so all of his ships he started out to do would be ironclads. So they're wooden ships with masts, but you now clad them in 5 inches of steel or iron going round. Something like that, as a clump of metal hit an ironclad from this distance, would rock the ship, but it wouldn't go through. So that meant that that type of shell all of a sudden would become obsolete. So we thought, we'll do something else. At that time, a guy called Palmerston, Lord Palmerston, he was actually in our parliament. He was in the Foreign Office, and he became Prime Minister and so on and so forth. He was actually on television on that, on Lovey Victoria. I saw him and they said, don't tell me what's him. You right, Victoria? That's a program now? Anyway, what he decided upon was that this man could not be trusted. And he needed to make sure that we protect ourselves against him, because although he's giving signals that he's quite happy with us being an ally, he would get us into trouble with him with our other allies, if you see what I mean. So in Parliament, he raised the question, we need to make sure that our forts are up to date, rebuilt. Yeah? And after a long, long time, he finally got it through Parliament. And forts were actually built from the east coast of England, going all the way down into London a bit, other rivers, big rivers like that, all the way around, south coast up to the River Severn. So there was a load of these built. And the forts, most of them, to date, have never been used in anger. But when he was there, Palmerston, there was never any problem with France. So, could it be said then that that was a bit of a folly, spending all that money? And it was called, in Victorian times, Palmerston's follies. He wasted all that money. But could it also have been that Napoleon thought, don't think I'll bother with this one. They're pretty well armed. They might beat me. So was it a folly or not? We also looked at weapons and how to deal with it. If you've got a ball flies through the air and it's got, although it might feel round, it's got little holes in little dips and little bumps. And when it hits the air, it goes off in all directions. So if you look at an old Crimea War, or maybe before, war where they've got cannons lined up. The reason they had all these cannons lined up is because they weren't sure whether the ball was going to go. I want to get there, but it might go over there, or up there, or there. Line them up, you're going to hit something. The shell like this was more accurate because it can now have air hitting it and moving behind it, but it wasn't that accurate. And then somebody came up with these things, bits of brass on the side. Do you know what they are, or what they're called?
They streamline it.
Streamlining?
Big grooves to the rifle end.
Sorry?
Grooves to the rifle end.
I like that one. That's good. Not quite, almost. It was almost there. No, it wouldn't streamline it, but what it would do is to make it more accurate. And the way it did that is that the Victorians worked out that if you had a shell and you spun it would actually be more accurate. So, these are called slugs. You'll see that they are on at a slight angle, and they're made out of brass. And then what they then did was they rifled, which is where you were coming in, the barrel. Now that barrel would have these rifling going in, and it would cause it to turn, because the grooves turn. And you only need a quarter of a turn, that's all. Quarter of a turn, and it changes something that's inaccurate to something that is highly accurate. And that's what's used today in quite a lot of weapons, where it's got to be turning. You know? So the theory was good. And that meant that, yes, they were now pretty good. However, we also need to put a charge in them. So, where you see white around the top of shells in those days, they were the ones with charges inside. That would actually hit the metal of the ironclad. That would then cause the charge at the bottom to ignite, which would cause the gunpowder inside to go bang and blast its way through. So technology was changing, and some of these guns were becoming out of date before they were actually installed. But that's what they are, and we'll be looking at something a bit more about that. As you're going out, you'll see one of those doorways without a door in it, because they managed to take the hook down. And if you actually look out of it, you can have a quick look, and you'll actually see a dry moat outside. They've taken down the...
Two at a time, probably.
Got friends, haven't they?
No.
I can't remember the name of it.
Oh.
Can't remember the name of that thing. I need a computer. Google it. Are those real kids or are they ghost kids?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh. Pulled up for like a little bit of... Thank you.
Big bricks around the car park, has steps in the park.
Okay, so we had a magazine there which had shells in it, and the type of shells that were stored in there were not the explosive type. Okay. In here is also a magazine, but it's a different shape than the other one. So what was stored in here?
Gunpowder.
Oh yeah, gunpowder. Gunpowder. It would have to be stored on shelves, and the floor had to be a wooden floor to start off with. And as you can see, there's still parts of the wooden floor there. And then from there, it would actually have the leather as well. And in here, they would wheel in their trolleys to collect the gunpowder. Gunpowder was refined, if that's the wrong word to use, at the Purfleet powder mills. So it's not miles away from here. There's about 10 mills there that used to produce this gunpowder. It will be sent here, pre-packed, if you want to call it that, into silk bags. Now what I mean by pre-packed is that you would have a certain amount of gunpowder in a bag, which when it was discharged was thrown the shell a certain distance. So in other words, if you wanted it to go a long way, you wouldn't put a little one in. You'd have to put the right size in for a bigger charge. You can see here as well where things are being put on there. This is an original piece of kit. I don't know where they found it. It's beginning to rot now. But certainly that would have been used in a room like this. The important thing is that this is the area that can really cause problems. So if you block that wall off, so if there were any sparks out there, they wouldn't be coming in here. Here would have a wooden door, which was solid oak. You would have to sign in and sign out. And that door's open, it's closed as you come in, and so on and so forth. Now with that, aim or doubt it. The importance of it is that if one of these went up, it wouldn't just be this room. And the story that is a true story, when you look up there, you'll see the two vents. This one's broken, hence it goes through to the other side, but it wouldn't have done it originally. It will go there and straight up. And up on the roof are vent holes. You don't know where or what they're doing there, and they just come up in different places, but it's vent holes. And they have to make sure that there's air movement, because if they didn't, it would be soaking down here. It's that air movement that creates a drier atmosphere. In here, the amount...
If the gunpowder was wet, it wouldn't show.
If the gunpowder was wet, it would go...
Yeah.
Well, not quite like that, but it does. It would ignite. And it has to be dry, keeping the powder dry and so on. Now, the important bit about it is that in this other fort, which was one of the last forts to be built round in the River Severn, there was a soldier with his mate on the roof. And what they used to do in those days would have people on the roof just checking that there's nobody else about, there's no enemy, doing their duty. And he was talking, and this is a matter of fact, not fiction, talking to his mate about this officer, and this officer was being really nasty to him. I mean, it's the army. This officer was being really nasty to him. And he's been put on jankers. Put on jankers means that he's got to do whatever to spuds or whatever. I don't know. And he was telling his friend what he wanted to do to this officer. And his friend, who could tell the story, but I don't remember this. I mean, telling me you want to kill an officer is not really good, is it? So this guy got his rifle, and he's going back to 1990 something like that. And he got his gunpowder, poured it down the barrel, put a ball in, you know. And for some reason, and it was seen, I don't know how, but for some reason, he fired it down an air vent. Now, these balls were not explosive, but they were iron. And the air vent that he had to choose, which he wouldn't have known, because it would go all over the place, had to be one of these. And as it came in, it must have sparked, and the whole thing went bang. And it blew the whole side of the fort off. Killed lots of people. Obviously, a lot of people were lost and didn't know where they were, could have been anywhere. Just obliterated. That fort went out of commission for fighting purposes. The way they used it for other purposes, it was never used for, at all, to be regarded as a fighting fort. So, we could be in here now, one of you was a sudden strike match, bang, none of us are here, and probably most of the people in the fort around us wouldn't be here. So dangerous. Makes you think about paranormal, doesn't it? I don't know. Follow me now. Okay, we're almost there. Right, just above us is a tube, like the other tubes, and it would have been with wood around it and everything else. But you can actually see where chains have been up here, and you can also see here a mouthpiece. And that floor there is actually the floor of the casemate above. Now, as you go through the fort, this goes up and down. The casemate stays the same, this goes up and down. So you'll find that some of these are in a different height, different position. But some of these go right up to the roof. Now, the important part is that where we walk past that mechanical thing, you'd have one guy, and this is for those 800-pound shelves, one guy will be able to winch this all the way up by standing what would have been there, and you can see they've taken some out of there, haven't they? And he would have been winding that and winching it all the way up the top, for them to move up there. Okay. There's a cowling showing you how it used to be. And this is where the winch would have been like that. Okay, is everybody there to see me? Story about the paranormal. Down there is more of what we've seen, really. Forts, although they're bigger, it's only the same all the way through. You would have had exactly the same down there as you are up here. Hence why they put numbers on the doors so you know where you were in the fort, because it just looks the same. My first day here as a guide, I've never been down in the tunnel before. The chap that you might have seen in a wheelchair, yeah, he's a guide, and he, in those days, he was okay on his leg. He was showing me around down here, along with somebody else who will remain nameless because she gets embarrassed about it. But we came down here, and you can see there's no lights in there. So, the reason there's no lights in there is because everything was soaking wet at the time. You couldn't have lights on there, dangerous. The lights here were in the process of being fixed. Now, I don't mind coming down here in the dark with a torch. I mean, there wasn't a torch as bright as that, but you know, when you've got a torch, it's okay as far as I'm concerned. And I convinced him it was a good idea to take us down there. And you know how things, you don't realise it at the time, but certain things happened that should never have happened. We only had one torch. None of us had a mobile phone with us. So you can't switch it on and think, oh look, I can see now. And we were halfway down there, and all of a sudden you could literally hear it go bing, light bulb went. When I say it's black, I mean it's like, where's my hand? I can't see anything. There's no light coming in at all. Doesn't worry me, to be fair, but you know, it's rather strange. And then what actually happens is your senses pick up lots of things that you didn't know was there because your eyes were open. And you can hear things like chirper. You can hear voices. Now those voices are not, as far as I'm concerned, are not paranormal. I've been down here a lot of times by myself. When I came in this morning, nobody else was about, I walked down there, don't tell me. So when I said that, and you can hear things like water dropping. But because of the arches and everything else, it magnifies sound. So I don't think it's, but, and yeah, I must say that, how many years have we been doing it now? 4 years? You would have thought, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Was the washroom down there?
There's washrooms down there, yeah.
Okay.
That's way down. Yeah. You go into what looks like public convenience, really. Won't go into detail. Is she going to be okay?
Yeah, she passes out a lot.
It's not what I'm saying, is it?
No,
Sure.
no, I think it's the temperature. Got some water. She's got some, she just can't see it.
If you actually walk down towards the door, you'll find warmer air coming in. You'll be all right. We'll be out in just a tick. Don't worry. So, we heard somebody speak. And at first, when people are talking, you can't hear that whole speech, you hear bits and pieces.